Right. I banged the gavel without checking with IT. Okay, it's good. So it was a good bang. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are calling this meeting of the Halton Police Board to order for Thursday, August 27th, 2026. Before we get into the meeting proper, I would like to read our territorial acknowledgement. The Halton Police Board acknowledges that we gathered for this meeting on the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and the Anishinaabe. No matter our origins, our lives are intertwined through the shared earth beneath us, the water we consume, and the air that we breathe. As those responsible for the governance of the security of all who gather on this land, we now call Halton. We are committed to the path of truth and reconciliation in our words and in our actions, and call on those watching these meetings to do the same. Madam Committee, what is your title today? You're Madam Board Operations Manager. Do we have any regrets today?
Yes, we do not.
Members of the board, are there any disclosures of pecuniary or conflicts of interest? Not seeing any. Before we get into the confirmation of minutes, I just have two quick announcements. First of all, I would like to introduce to you Dean Wood. Dean Wood has recently been appointed by Order in Council and the Solicitor General and the Premier of Ontario as our latest board member. So welcome, Dean, to the team. And I will tell everybody that the tradition for new board members is that you get to have a solo singing of our board theme song. So take it away. No? Okay. Dean is joining us from Halton Hills, and we welcome him to the board, and we know that you'll have an exciting and interesting journey ahead of you as you learn and contribute to the public safety of our region. So thank you, welcome, and we're glad you're with us. I also want to acknowledge that our Deputy Roger Hill has just completed 30 years of service, so congratulations, sir. Next year. You can always be next year. This year, Jeff Hill or Roger? We're twin brothers. It's a hybrid. I'm creating a monster. Twins. Roger Wilkie, congratulations. Well done. 30 years of service is quite an accomplishment. Okay, members of the board, the minutes from the meeting of June 25th were circulated. Are there any errors or omissions to report today? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as circulated, please, for a public meeting? Thank you, Samira. Thank you, Rod. All in favor? That is carried. We do not have any presentations today. We have a number of items on our information reports, and for members of the public who might be watching, information reports are documents and reports that are strictly informational and do not have actions beyond receipt, and that's why they're categorized as such. But we will go to the board and ask, are there any separations of the information reports this morning?
I just want to do 3.1.
3.1 is separated? Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Okay, not seeing any, so I'll go to Ingrid for 3.1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we have previously acknowledged these promotions, but I think it's important to state our congratulations to the people who have been promoted since we last met, particularly Anita Laframboise as Superintendent, Raph Skwarka as Superintendent, and Steve Siombra as Inspector, and all the many other appointments that occurred. So well done. You make us very proud as your career advances.
Thank you. Would you like to give me a motion to approve 3.1 through 3.7? Yes. Is there a seconder to that? Thank you, Samira. Any further discussion or separations? All in favor? Okay. Those are approved. For the purpose of the public who might be watching, we've just approved our quarterly human resources summary. That's 3.1. 3.2 is financial report and forecast for the second quarter of 2026. 3.3 is a purchasing activity report, January through June 2026. 3.4 is the board community fund update as of June 30th, 2026. 3.5 is our freedom of information summary IPC annual report. 3.6 is a semi-annual board governance expenditure report, and 3.7 is our reserve status report. If anybody in the public would like to review any of these documents, they're available at halton.ca and as well in our minutes that will be circulated following this meeting. 4.1 begins our regular agenda, accountability mechanisms for police response to survivors of sexual assault. Members of the command team, do you have any comments on this one going into it? Deputy Hill?
Just that we have, I think we're one of the few police services that are still doing this, and we have excellent partners with our, the people that are involved in this, so we're actively participating still and looking for every possible way that we can improve survivors' experience in dealing with the police and how we can help them.
Ingrid, you had a comment on this?
Yes, on that note, I just wanted to commend the service on the arrests that were made. I think it was in July through Project Troubadour. Apparently the largest human trafficking case in our history. So tremendous work that was done between the other services and Halton, and such a very critical area, which sadly is growing by the leaps and bounds by the week.
Thanks, Ingrid. Further comments or questions on this report? Lisa?
Sure, thank you very much. Very serious matter, and thank you for your work on this. There was one piece that stood out to me under the strategic management of issues, and I'm just wondering if you could share a little bit more about why this is so important. And so one of the big outcomes of this work is to enhance the support for survivors through the utilization of trauma-informed and victim-centric responses. And there's a lot of language that can be used in a way that is more respectful and more helpful. So just wondering if you could take this opportunity as a little bit of a learning opportunity to anyone who's maybe watching, and how we can be better supporters.
For sure, we've learned over the years that, some of the old ways that even we've taught our investigators to interview, or the way we interpret what people are saying to us, or how we think people remember things, has been proven to be incorrect. And that at times, unfortunately, in the way we've investigated in the past, we could cause survivors more trauma, making them revisit things unnecessarily, or maybe, the fear that the way they reiterate or recall information isn't in the way that we think they were. So it's all about recognizing that trauma affects people in different ways, and minimizing once through someone's been such a traumatic event like that we do everything in our power. For example, instead of making people come to the police station, now we will go to your house. Instead of being the formal idea of we're going to make you go to an interview room in a formal scenario like that and force you to come through, we use cameras so that we can necessarily go to your house. It's all about making it more comfortable. And if you think about some of the hub models that are out there, and we're part of one, not having our survivors drive around to 8 different places while perhaps they've also got their children with them. It's bringing the services to the person rather than forcing them to come to us to find the service. So everything and anything we can do, and the benefit to this is that we know that we don't know everything, and the police have a certain way of doing things, and like I said, we learn over and over again that we're not necessarily always right. So when we have the other groups like Women's Place and Thrive and all those different people that can help us and educate us, we learn better, we get better because of it.
Perfect, and that was my second question. So if you wanted to just take a moment to share how important it is to have these different relationships and partnerships like Thrive, Halton Women's Place, Savis, Safe Halton, they're all working towards, being partners and allies in trauma-informed response around sexual assault and abuse. So, and especially intimate partner violence. So maybe it's a moment to say thank you to them. Yeah,
for sure. We couldn't do it without them. Elizabeth Fry is a part of it. Yes. We talked about Project Troubadour, which was our largest human trafficking, and that all started with brave survivors that came forward that we couldn't do without. And doing the arrests, and you saw the press conference, and we truck out all that stuff, and we do a great press conference. Behind that is survivors, and behind the survivors are all those advocacy groups that support the victims along with us, including our own victim services as well. So we could not operate and do the job that we do without those groups that you named, including Savis as well as another one.
One more thing, I'm just trying to look it up. So when we were at CAPG last year, and I just can't find the name of the group, but it's like Not in This Town is their hashtag, and it's the Yellow Rose. Yeah. Maybe one of my colleagues remembers the name. I was recently through the Calgary airport, and we saw those in every washroom, obviously backed up by an educational session of what to do or how to spot the signs of human trafficking. And then when I go through Pearson, I still see nothing. So I'm just wondering, how are we working with our partners that are a little bit bigger in the areas that we know might be hot spots?
So for the human trafficking part, you will see it different places. Like, for example, I saw it on the way to, if you see the on-ramps, you see the bathrooms of on-ramps.
Yeah.
We have partnered with that group. We've actually sent members of our team to attend their conferences, and I know exactly who you're talking about, who sponsors that. You'll see even in the intimate partner violence, we've got programs like Ask Angela, where you'll see those. It was actually started by a grocery store. So we jump on those every chance we get and support them. We are actively supporting those with our partners, including All Women's Place in that scenario, just trying to bring awareness to the issues. And that's why you'll hear me talk about human trafficking so often, and why, when we do that press conference, it's not just so much about bragging and celebrating the arrest. It's about, we know for a fact that there's other people out there, and it's showing. What we find is if we show that there's all these other advocacy groups, we're supported with all these other groups, the people that were afraid to come forward will then come forward because they can see, okay, well, maybe I'm not the first one, or maybe I want to support those people that have gone before me. That's really the reason that what we did that press conference is to help and tell people that there's help out there, and it's not just the police. Quite honestly, and you've heard me say it before, I don't even really necessarily, it's not about coming to the police, as long as you go to somebody, and that somebody is all those other groups.
Thanks, Deputy, appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa. Just to answer your question, it's not in my city, which is fronted by Paul. We presented that at CAPG last year. Yeah, we've spoken to him and personally spoken to him. Perfect. Okay. Further comments or questions on this particular item? Not seeing any. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the recommendation on the staff report? Thank you, Ingrid. Can I get a seconder, please? Thank you, Nav. All in favor? That is carried. And I'm done on my agenda. Give me 1 second. Thanks. Why time to? Okay, we're moving on to 5.1, which is a total power limited. It's a limited tendering acquisition. Any updates on this or feedback, or I guess it is what it is? Members of the board, do you have any questions about this? Can I get a motion to approve the request, please? Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nav. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, moving on to 5.2, that's just a common area firearms officer. Maybe just give us a bit of an overview on this one, if somebody can.
It's a program we've been running for years and years and years, as you can see in there. It's mutually beneficial to the area and us having the firearms officer here. We get the benefit of having them here as well. It's a full recovery, so it doesn't cost us anything. So it's kind of a win-win for us. I think we've been doing it since 2009. I think we've been doing it since 2009.
I've seen these reports a lot. Any comments or questions from members of the board? Can I get a motion to approve the recommendation, please, and for me to sign the agreement? Samira and Ingrid, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, back online again. Okay. 5.3 is our board schedule for the upcoming calendar year. It's been presented. Is there any comments or questions, errors or omissions on this one? Not seeing any. Can I get a motion to? Oh, Nav, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it outlines the meeting days, but also in conjunction to keep and consider as a board and as a service, the governance calendar, which has all of our workshops and whatnot. So, and budget planning. So maybe we could start earlier in the year to getting those exact dates in, so that way there's enough time to plan on both ends of the team.
Okay, thank you. Sorry? Would you? Yes, that's a good thought. Do you want to just put that add that to the motion potentially to just a motion to direct staff to board staff to liaise with the service staff to make sure that those dates are adhered to?
Yeah, and getting them in the calendar earlier so they have the benefit of, you don't have to worry about scheduling conflicts. Okay. However you choose to word that, I'm okay with that.
Sure. Okay, it's been taken away. You're moving the motion then for the overall report, correct? So you're moving the approval of the dates as well as the codicil amendment here with respect to getting the dates in the calendar early, correct? Great. Okay, seconded? Do you want to second that?
Sure, I'll second it.
You guys?
Got you on the record.
You guys first motion or seconded? We'll get a direction. All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, community fund applications. I'm going to turn to Rod on this one. You've got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I'd like to move that the board approve 3 of the submitted applications for the Kerr Street mission, for the Lions Foundation, and for the Thrive for Blacks applications. The others I note had missing information, and I would, as part of the motion, request that the staff be asked to refer those back to the applicants for clarification.
Okay. So for clarification, your motion is to approve Kerr Street, Lions, and Thrive for Blacks to deny the balance of the applications pending resubmission of necessary documentation.
That's right, and ask staff to liaise with the applicants to review their applications.
Terrific. And just as by way of explanation, in case somebody from one of these organizations is watching, we do have very strict guidelines in terms of making sure that applications must be complete. They must include current financial statements. And if they're previous recipients of grants from the community fund, we must also have in our possession a copy of the reports from their previous grants. So in the cases of these organizations, we don't have all that information. So this denial today is not in any way a reflection on the application. It's simply a matter of them not complying with our guidelines, and therefore we're going to go back to them and say we need to get that additional information. Samira, did you have a question? Are you seconding?
Yes, I have a question, Mr. Chair. My question is, I know that the ones we are proposing to not approve have incomplete information, and we're saying that we want complete information from them. Once we have that information, does this guarantee them the amount that they're asking for?
I don't think that's what's the spirit of the motion. I think that basically at that point they'll come back to the board for consideration. Okay. Because part of the consideration, of course, is analyzing their financial wherewithal. We want to make sure that our funding is not the only funding. We want to make sure that they're financially solid and stable and all that sort of thing, because we are dealing with public trust funds. So I think that was the intention of the motion.
Right, that's right. It's not just a check the box exercise, it's understanding the context.
Okay, thank you.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Great, will you second the motion for me then?
No.
Okay. Can I get somebody else to second that motion, please? Thank you, Ingrid. Further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Oh, I'm gonna need hands here. Okay, it's carried. Thank you. Moving on to 5.5, capital projects. Capital projects program status as of June 30th, 2026. Anything additional to add here?
No, I don't think we have anything additional to add, just letting everyone know that we are closing a number of capital projects as those specific initiatives have come to an end. And in some cases, there may be a surplus balance because in delivery of the project, it just didn't cost as much as we initially estimated.
Okay. Lisa, I know you had a question on this. Are you still wish to ask that?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you for the insights around closing the project. So the one that I just wanted to ask for some additional information on, if you could provide insights, is the mental health crisis response, showing a surplus of $50,000. And so while I certainly want to recognize our partners in the work of COAST, Crisis Outreach and Support Team, as well as the Mobile Crisis Rapid Response Team, it's difficult to imagine we have unspent money related to mental health outreach. And so I'm just wondering, is the plan to reallocate that? Did it come in under because program changes, or how are we making sure we're maximizing every dollar that goes towards that mental health crisis response?
So I can speak specifically to this individual project. So this project was approved by the board last fall, and this was specifically for the purchase of the virtual reality goggles to deliver training related to mental health crisis response. So it's not that we're not continuing to make an investment in the mental health crisis space, but there was surplus funds related to the purchase of that specific equipment.
Perfect. I think that that's very helpful, and I would never want it interpreted that we had surplus funds that we didn't direct back to that same purpose. So appreciate it. Thank you, Chair. That's all what I was concerned about.
Thank you. Would you be kind enough to provide me with the necessary motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to move it.
It's just to receive it, yes?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, we're approving the closure of the projects, and it's a list of the projects. So that's been moved. Is there a seconder to that, please? Thank you, Nav. All in favor? That's carried. Operational verbal updates.
game went.
Oh, you snuck one in early. No, I think we're good. We did, we've had a number of sergeants promotions. Thank you, Ingrid, for mentioning the other promotions, and every one of them is important. We met with 7 new sergeants this morning, so they are now carrying their new sergeant's badges and going on to their new, slightly different and duties, so we're looking forward to them serving in those roles, but that's it for me.
Thank you. Anything from you, Deputy Volkey?
Maybe one thing, we have an update in terms of the financial cost of Canada Day, if you'd like that verbally.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
So thanks to Kerry and Greg and the team, they were able to extrapolate some data from our overtime banks and so forth. We had a total of 169 resources assigned to Canada Day events throughout the region in all 3 of our policing districts. That amounted to over 1,300 hours of person time spent to manage those events. The costs paid by the event were approximately $44,000, and the costs in terms of in-kind donation of HRPS time was approximately $40,000. So total cost of policing for that one day, just for that event, was $83,296.
Can you explain the in-kind portion that you're referring to?
So basically, giving our command teams advance notice, able to switch shifts, put moratoriums on time off, and ensure that we had as many people available to dedicate to those events, in addition to our operational requirements for public safety throughout the region. So that was the total cost of man and woman hours placed on for the event in terms of their compensation. Now, that doesn't include benefits or retention pay. It was just a basic salary review, so it's likely higher than that, but we didn't want to overbill it.
So I apologize, I don't remember the exact number. Did you say 44,000?
44,000 paid by the event in terms of paid duties, and $40,000 for in-kind donation of HRPS time.
Okay, so it's all ultimately taxes because it's different departments, but the 40,000 from the service itself, that is in addition to what would normally have been paid that day. So this is over and above the regular operational cost of that day's operations, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Question down at Nev.
Yes, I just want to, I think this came out based on a question we had because we passed the motion of significant an event, so there had to be, I guess, so you were saying because that event was declared an event of significance, the operational cost was $40,000 because the event was declared that, right?
That is what the service contributed.
Yeah.
And then there's an additional charge in terms of what pay duties amounted to during the course of the 3 municipalities hosting different events.
Okay. Yeah, because the pay duty the municipalities pay, but it's just because of that event, we had to spend an extra $40,000 of a budget to police those events.
That's correct.
I just want to clarify something, though, that the $40,000 wasn't just as an answer to the declaration of a significant event. You would have spent a significant amount notwithstanding that.
Yeah.
They do every year anyway.
The designation by the board of being a significant event changes some of my reporting responsibilities back to the board and keeping you up to date on what we're doing more than we would perhaps normally. But the actual expense comes from what we need to do operationally to make that happen. So we would have done most of that anyway. Okay. The pay duties are slightly separate, as Raj has mentioned.
Okay, and last thing I just want to mention, and I'll come to Lisa, is that I also don't want to undervalue the contributions made by auxiliary officers who were there that night. While they don't have a financial cost, there is a significant value to these wonderful volunteers for providing their services that evening as well.
That's a great point. So there's a number of people who also switch shifts and were able to contribute their working week hours to that event. And then we did have, in excess of like 30 auxiliary officers assigned throughout the region to assist. And these are people that give of their time that already have a full-time job, and we really appreciate their ability to give back in a special way.
Our auxiliaries are truly special people, and we're very grateful for them. Lisa.
I'm grateful for the auxiliaries. So I just wanted to be clear about what you're sharing, because we did designate only Oakville-Bronte as a major event, but the numbers that you're sharing and the strength is across 3 municipalities at different events. So the difference is the cost paid by operators for event facilitators is not something that is a financial consideration with Bronte, because that's an unsanctioned, unorganized event requiring it to be declared an event of a major event by the board. So I think that there's two pieces of information that we do need to see, which is just how much, and it's on your action registry for further updates. So how much does the Bronte piece cost exclusively without unsanctioned and without an organizer? And then the other ones within Burlington and Milton, those have organizers and special events teams wrapped around them. So just for some clarity, I think we're talking about two different things within the same day.
So what I can comment on is that most of the pay duty pieces were for the sanctioned event. It's a family event. It doesn't require extra public safety measures. The unsanctioned piece was predominantly where the in-kind donation of HRPS resourcing was. So the breakdown there would be approximately $25,000 for the pay duty sanctioned event, and there was $23,000 put in by the HRPS to staff the unsanctioned pieces on Lakeshore and the other surrounding communities.
Okay, that's helpful for clarity. Thank you for that explanation.
Thanks, Lisa. Is there anything further on this question? Yeah.
I said, thank you for the breakdown. It helps us.
Yeah. Before we get off that, I do want, because this is our first meeting since that happened, I do want to say on behalf of the town of Oakville and the people of Oakville, thank you very much to your command team as well as everybody else in the organization for carrying off what I think ultimately at the end of the day was a very successful operation to keep Bronte safe, and for that matter, all of our Canada Day celebrations across Halton region safe. I will say that I was observing and was highly impressed with both operations that night as well as Victoria Day evening. I spent the evening roaming with the chief, keeping an eye on things and watching how that took place. It was very impressive, and I know that those officers and both the paid officers and the auxiliary officers and municipal enforcement staff, they really put their heart and soul into making sure that Oakville, in particular, in this case, I'm speaking for Oakville, that Oakville had the opportunity to have a Canada Day event that at the end of the day was safe, had very few issues of any significant concern, and I think that we're all very proud of our contributions of the board to helping make that happen, but most importantly, really proud of the contributions of the service for really putting their heart and soul into making sure that we can celebrate our national holiday in peace and in safety. So thank you for that, and please pass it on to the team. We are forever grateful for that. Thank you. Okay, members of the board, I'm going to draw your attention to the Action Registry. The Action Registry, and I haven't done this to our new CGO yet, but Madam CGO, can you take us through the Action Registry?
Sure.
Did you know this was coming?
No.
Okay. Normally Fred does this, and so you're channeling your inner Fred.
And this is for me to just present on each piece?
Just basically just give us a summary. You don't have to go into like super detail. Just tell us where we stand on each one of these items if you can.
Well, let's make it have the first one removed.
And that's what you would say. That's what you would say.
First one can be removed. Chief, I'll ask you about the update on, I don't even know, I'm sorry.
So the second one is the annual report.
The annual report.
Yep.
Any additional updates? I do recall, Chair, that we will obviously be working through planning from an annual report perspective over the next few months. And coming into the new year. This is obviously from the staff's perspective, or the services perspective, as well as the strategic plan. Chief, any additional comments on that?
I think some of the update to that was given already to the board, so I'm not sure that you're still looking for more at this point, but that may be done as well, subject to the chair.
So I think that we can, I believe, unless anybody has any feedback, I think we did get that information from the command team, and I think we could probably declare that one complete as well. Does anybody object to that?
No.
No. Okay, so we'll strike that one. That is complete as well.
Excellent.
So the third one is the Community Fund Committee be paused pending, and that one is still outstanding. We're expecting an update in October.
That's right. We will be looking through, staff will be looking through the application revision and process coming into
Terrific. Okay. Can I get a motion to, well, actually, yeah. well, there will be something coming out of that. That's fine. So can I get a motion to receive the action registry, please? Ingrid and Samira, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. You've received 4 items of public correspondence this month. They're in your agenda. Does anybody wish to raise any of those, or are we satisfied to receive those? I'm not seeing anything, so can I get a motion to receive? Ingrid and Samira, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, under new business, we have an item that we put on the agenda to have start the conversation about electric kick scooters and other micromobility devices. And I know that the command team have a bit of a verbal update for us on that. So I will turn to you to give us your summary of that particular issue.
We had that report that was prepared through Lama. We have the summary that was provided to the board through corporate communications on some of the initiatives that we've undertaken on the education side, some of the videos that our corporate communications team have done, and I hope all the board members, so other than our newest one, would probably have seen those. I know we forwarded them for your information, with Constable Jeff Dillon doing some of the education videos on social media, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all those sorts of things. So there's an ongoing education, corporate communications, external program already in the works. We're looking at what other services are doing in and around enforcement, and enforcement can be a positive thing, it can be a problematic thing, depending on how it is approached. So we need to look at the overall strategy for the service so that different districts aren't being treated differently or different expectations. Certainly, we take it from our front lines and our supervisors and association and command teams, the priorities that the front line have, and they are many. And the e-scooters are a public safety concern, no doubt. They're a safety of our youth concern, and we understand and support that. We want to take a really fulsome look at what we do from an enforcement perspective. And if there is enforcement to be done, our preferences then will probably end up looking at the dangerous operation of these vehicles, because some of them are definitely being operated dangerously. I know the chair and I have had a fair bit of discussion about the actual issue of e-scooters. It's a parenting issue, it's an education issue. Parents are buying these scooters for, let's say, for 12 to 15-year-olds when they're not supposed to be using them until they're 16. It's not necessarily the kid's fault, and there's a lot of good kids using them, and some of them are using them responsibly. So on the enforcement side, once we get through, and I know there's a motion to be tabled here for further discussion and perhaps bringing back in September, we will look at the prioritization of enforcement being the dangerous operation, and a lot of intervention and education with kids. So most of them, or a lot, will not know that they're not supposed to have them. I know this version calls on a variety of different organizations, from the provincial government to the municipalities for bylaws to the school boards. I would fully support the board in that undertaking. The board staff are going to be doing some of the lobbying, if I could call it that. I think it would be one thing for school boards to say these aren't allowed at school. That doesn't mean that someone can't ride it to a block from school and then walk there, but if they continue to allow them on school property, they're actually encouraging or allowing this behavior, which could be a health concern for the youth, at the same time as we need to educate the parents. And probably the school board would have the best mechanism to get information out to the parents. And certainly Inspector Foley and Lama, who are both here, I think, still today, have looked at a number of different approaches of where we can get messaging out. I think school board will be one of them. Municipalities need to enact bylaws. Right now, there's provincial legislation that says you can't operate these things under 16 unless some cities allow them to. And in Burlington's case, there's a corridor or a centennial pathway where they are permitted. Those are individual decisions, but I think the municipalities can also say that they are not permitted in a variety of locations, which would then empower municipal bylaw enforcement officers to play a role in some of this. It seems that one thing that we've discussed certainly behind the scenes is it can be seen as a somewhat heavy-handed by some people in our society if the police, the fully trained armed police officers, are stopping a 13-year-old on a scooter and charging them. The ironic part is if they're over 16, we can take them to court. If they're under 16, it's a whole different separate process. They have to go almost to a criminal type of court. Courts may not want that. The courts, in my view, the courts often don't take serious things serious enough. We could spend a lot of time on charges if it's simple use of the scooters by the youth, and then we have to notify parents, and that would also be very time consuming in some situations of taking an officer who encounters a youth riding a scooter that was given to by his parents, and now he's got to track down the parents and serve them with a notice to go to court as well. It's all part of the education process, so we get the health and safety concern for the youth. We just want to take a very balanced approach. Education and communications first, enforcement when necessary, particularly prioritizing the dangerous operation, and then also allowing the bylaws, which we hope will be enacted by each municipality. There's some question whether the region could also pass a bylaw that covers the whole region. I don't know if the municipalities need to play a role with the region to do that. A lot of the municipal councillors are also regional councillors, so it may make sense to do all at the same time. I personally, and many of us, would like to see the municipal enforcement officers play some role in this, so that it is not all-consuming for our frontline police officers as it could be. But a balanced approach, sort of that balanced scorecard approach, is what we're looking at. And Lama and Paul and Roger has put a lot of time into this with our district commanders and command staff on this, and wanted to put out a consistent message. So with the idea that this notice is now a notice of motion as opposed to being a motion, I'm sure we can fine-tune some things between now and the September board meeting, and that's sort of where we're looking at it from a police and on the operational side perspective.
I know Samir wants to speak, and I just saw Nav's hand. I know that Lisa and I have some comments about the notice of motion itself, but I just want to emphasize something you said, because this is really the thing I want to underline, highlight, underscore, put spotlights on, is that this, at the heart of this, is not a police issue. At the heart of this is a parental issue. We're talking about children that are riding e-scooters, which is there's no framework in law that makes this legal. So even the pilot project under Regulation 38919 only contemplates municipalities having the ability to be able to legalize scooters in their municipalities for those 16 and over. There's no contemplation, there's no law, there's no jurisdiction in Ontario that allows for the use of e-scooters and other micromobility devices for under the age of 16 period, full stop. So therein lies the biggest challenge that we have with this whole issue, is that right now there is no framework for the law. And the confusion I know we've had in Oakville, and I'm not sure with other municipalities, as we've been wrestling with this idea of approving 38919 pilot, is that people are conflating the issues. So there's two separate issues. There's the 16 plus issue, which municipalities have the right to do. Oakville's in the currently evaluating that. Burlington has a very limited pilot going on. I'm not sure what's happening in Milton. Maybe Samira can mention that. But Oakville's currently undergoing a public consultation on that. The issue of children is really, I think, at the heart of what we're talking about. And I'm totally legion with you, Chief, that at the beginning, at the very heart of this is parents. And parents need to understand that these things are illegal. They're incredibly dangerous. And notwithstanding the fact that Amazon and other e-commerce providers and stores will sell these devices, that doesn't make them legal. And we can't ticket our way out of this problem. It has to be an initiative where we get the parents educated, we get the schools involved, we get the province involved. It's going to require a multi-jurisdictional response to this very, very serious issue. Okay, I just wanted to re-emphasize a couple of points, because you made some excellent points, and I just want to put a fine point on those. Let's go to Samira, then we'll go to Nav, and then Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that presentation, and I've also had a chance to skim over the motion, and you do speak about the responsibilities retailers have. I've also come to hear from residents as I continue to visit them door to door, is that there's also off-market products where the batteries are lighting up on fire. And that itself, within itself, is such a huge safety and fire hazard. So it has definitely become a big problem in our community, especially for Milton, I would say, because our transit is not the best. And young people are using it to go from point A to B in the quickest amount of time, in the fastest speed possible. And Milton has big, wide walkways, and that is very ideal for 3 kids to hop on one of these and just zoom away. So it's fun to look at, but it's definitely a death trap is what I would call it. Parents have a responsibility. In the town of Milton, we have done a door-to-door campaign where we have informational hangers in every door in Milton, and I'm seeing them as I go to door-to-door. I'm seeing those hangers with the appropriate information about why they're illegal and what can be done. When it comes to enforcement, I believe you need more enforcement officers, and that's the problem that a lot of municipalities will get stuck with. We can ban them all we want. We don't just have the manpower. So all I want to say is thanks for your update. And the police can do a lot, but everything has limitations. I believe that between, much to the chair's comments about how parents share responsibility, our enforcement officers share responsibility, municipalities share responsibility, I think it will be a good mix of that will get this situation under control. And if not, snow will fall soon. And that will automatically put an end to it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Nav, and then once Nav's done, then I'm going to pass the chair to Vice Chair Han, because I do want to speak to this notice of motion that Councillor Kearns and I are presenting, and I will give Lisa the first crack at it. So let's go to Nav, and then I'll pass the chair.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all agree that their data, it seems like, you know, you guys have done a lot of work in collaborating and seeing what can be done. Just curious, like, what are the municipalities, like, maybe my peers can answer this, like, what are the municipalities doing right now from a bylaw perspective? Because, like, I agree, like, we want, as much as we want the youth to have a good relationship with the police, if they, you know, their first interaction is they're getting charged at 13 for riding a scooter, that might lead them in the wrong direction, right? So I'm trying to understand from like a bylaw, like, has any municipality, I'm not saying maybe Halton, we haven't, but is there any municipality that's maybe confiscating them or issuing tickets to the parents, like anything that you guys have come across? Because I think if the police can only charge criminally, right? Like, and it's like, do we want to take that path? Because that could then, you know, for a youth, so
I can respond to some of that. So Oakville, I can speak to the Oakville experience. Oakville, recently there's a motion before council to come back with some recommendations. So what Lisa and I will be proposing today actually dovetails with what I've done in Oakville. I believe that Lisa's working on in Burlington too. I imagine Samira's got something up her sleeve as well. But yeah, the municipality has a responsibility for sure. All moving vehicles are regulated under the Highway Traffic Act, and so that's a legislation that that is shared by police as well as municipal enforcement officers. So I think that there's definitely a partnership that has to be involved here, police, bylaw officers, but again, at the top of that pyramid, you know, is going to be the parents making the decision to allow their children to do this and supervise. So I agree with those comments very much.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Roger.
Sorry, I opened another term. Just in terms of moving things forward, it's a complicated issue for sure, maybe best considered as part of the motion to come forward.
It will. So that's what we're going to right now. Okay. So I'm going to pass the chair to Vice Chair Han, and So you have the chair, and just give me one moment to review the procedural piece of this. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we have we are presenting a notice of motion. So procedurally, that means that we're not voting on this today. This is a notice of motion to the board and to the public and to the service that we intend to take up this motion at our next board meeting in September. So this isn't at this point enacting anything except like giving people advance notice that there is a conversation coming. This is a very long motion with lots of preamble to help justify it. What the final version of this looks like by the time we come back in September, it may change because we're certainly want to work cooperatively with the service team in crafting something that's going to be workable and obviously in compliance with laws, but also in terms of building it for success with the appropriate partnerships necessary to achieve those outcomes. So I'll give Lisa the floor if your comments. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah. You have the floor.
It's so hard not to be the chair.
It comes so natural. Go ahead.
Thanks. So let me be very clear. This is not an issue that has one sole solution, and it's clearly an opportunity for collaboration, legislation and enforcement, education and prevention. And the reason why this is so critical is because our under 16s are so precious to us. And we have had many injuries and over 10 deaths related to this mobility use. And so while we are all working towards enhancing mobility options for people to get around our cities and our towns, what we don't want to happen is having people injured or having near misses, because it is becoming so explosive. We're seeing it on social media, we're hearing it in our communities, and there is no clear solution. We know that bylaw officers cannot issue movement tickets at all, so this is not purely a bylaw issue. We know that schools are still allowing these on school premise, so it's not solely honed into the school boards. The hospitals are dealing with upswings of admissions related to fractures, concussions, breaks, and other things that are putting pressure on our healthcare system. The legislation right now still has a pilot project from the province extending out to 2029. So this is an issue that has to be dealt with. We can't continue to live in a purgatory of pilot projects. Burlington does have one through our Centennial Pathway, East-West Corridor, but the question remains, how do you get to and from that corridor if it is prohibited, and under 16s are prohibited at all times? We are saying that this is a parental responsibility. Well, there's enough pressure on parents, and there's no restrictions in terms of the retail spaces, whether it's bricks and mortar or online. These are unlicensed, unregulated, and they are coming into our real streets of Halton. What cannot happen is no action. We do not have any extra funding from the province around how to have our officers who are trained, armed, qualified, and required for a significant amount of adequate and effective policing being solely directed to one issue that has really exploded in the last year. The stakes are far too high. We do not want to have misses where we've not done other work because we have our officers out, possibly creating a poor first impression of our officers with our youth. And so everything that's been said here has been said across every municipality in Ontario. We are not new to this conversation. This is happening province-wide, and that's why this is calling at the end for a huge circulation list that includes, no less than 19 different agencies, where this is truly one of those times where we need to come together with a collaborative approach for the safety of our children, the safety on our roads, and so that we can have mobility options that don't compromise the life of our young kids, and that we can still continue to work together and find some solutions here, because the status quo in this moment is no longer acceptable, and we have to have some action towards this.
Sure. Yes. Mr. Knoll.
Thank you. So I will advise that, as you'll see on the screens, that there's been a motion presented. It is quite lengthy. I don't want to read it into the record because it is so lengthy. I will suggest that the board secretary will post this on our website so members of the public can have an opportunity to read it and get that up there as soon as possible. But there's a couple things I just want to reemphasize. I want to reemphasize without the words, what I said earlier in terms of where the responsibility starts, particularly when it deals with children having access to these scooters. Just like any other parental responsibility, we make decisions for our children that are in the best interest of the kids, and perhaps it's because of a lack of awareness of the danger that these things pose, because, you know what, they look like toys. You know, they graduate from the push scooter that you jump on and you push with your foot, and they're fine and benign and all that sort of thing. And so some parents may just simply believe that this is the next evolution, and I think we really need to, we need to shine so much light on this that it becomes really apparent that handing your child a scooter or allowing your child to purchase a scooter that can actually achieve speeds of over 50 kilometers an hour is probably not even as safe as handing them the keys to your Lexus. In that case, they've got metal all around them and potentially less damage to them. So we have to look at that level, that we very specifically in society don't give children keys to cars. We don't give children the ability to take on these extremely risky activities with products that are not something that they have the physical, intellectual, or maturity capacity to be able to manage. So something has to get done, and if education is at the tip of that iceberg to parents, then so be it. But it's a multi-jurisdictional project, and we really need to get people involved. Just a couple of quick things I want to highlight from the notice of motion. And again, this will come before the council, before the board next month, and Oakville Council will be dealing with it at some point later this year. But there's a couple of things that are really important. So we're not just hearing from parents on social media or people on social media about, in fact, we are in spades. It's one of the most common complaints on social media about people who've had interactions with micromobility devices, and in many cases quite tragic interactions with micromobility devices, particularly scooters. But we're hearing now from the medical industry that's really sounding an alarm bell. We've had the Canadian Pediatric Society has weighed into this, talking about the impact on children, and they're calling for coordinated injury prevention, surveillance policy, and public awareness measures. Also, for sick children, reported electric scooter injuries presented to its emergency department increased from 5 cases in June and July 23 to 16 cases during the same period 24. We don't have the statistics for 25 and 26, but from what I understand anecdotally, they're exponentially higher. The Montreal Children's Hospital Trauma Center reported approximately 80 children and adolescents treated for electric scooter-related injuries during 2025, and more than 80 children and adolescents already treated as of August 2026. We know that in Etobicoke, there was 2 young 12-year-olds who were in a tragic accident. One was in dealing with severe trauma. We were aware of a child in London that was actually in a coma for over a week and not expected to recover. He did, thankfully. So these situations are playing out over and over and over again. And something has to be done, and somebody has to do something about it. So the goal of this motion is really to start the ball rolling and start the conversation, to start bringing the parties together. And in my opinion, which is why I'm in favor of pushing this forward, a great place to get that conversation started is the police service, because this is what a lot of folks will default to being the place where this has to be addressed. And rightly or wrongly, that's a position that the board and the service has in our community to be able to take leadership in this area, which is why this motion is before us today. With that, I do want to say that I look forward to the discussion over the next month, and I look forward to working with the service team as we find ways to bring some solutions forward. I want to end with what I started with, and that is, again, the top of the pinnacle, the top of the pyramid on this is parents. We can't ticket our way out of these problems. I agree that I don't want police officers to be seen as the bad guys in all of this. And I think it's just not going to work, first of all, but it's also just a really bad look when we're trying to build up a relationship between children and police. We don't want police officers to be local parentists all over the neighborhoods trying to kill these children's fun. But we do need to take some responsibility, and we need to share that, first of all, with the parents, the municipalities, the police, whether public health and Halton region can take a role in this. The school boards definitely can have a role in this. There's a partnership that has to be forged, and I think today's the day we start that partnership. So I look forward to this conversation, and thank you for the floor, Madam Vice Chair.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none. Can you make a motion?
So actually, because it's a notice of motion, it doesn't require a motion. So effectively, the notice of motion is now on the table. So it is, on the floor. So it is, the opportunity now exists between now and then to refine it and to bring it forward in its final form at the September board meeting. And we'll be looking for the service to provide their feedback, and our board staff will provide their feedback because they will be carrying the stick on some of these items as well.
So with full support from the board.
I would suggest that you could call for a motion to receive. That would be a way that people could determine their lack of, their support or lack thereof. And I'll give you that motion to receive, the notice of motion.
All right, thank you for the motion. And seconded. Rod? All those in favor?
Actually, I think the second is already, sorry.
Yes, that's right. Seconded, Lisa. All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can have the chair back?
The chair's back to the chair.
I didn't want you to get too comfortable.
No. Just use that.
So thanks everybody for that conversation. I appreciate the support of everybody on the board, and I hope that we can actually make a difference here. Okay, members of the board, is there any other further new business to come before the board today? Please.
Sorry, Chair, I wanted to actually comment on the correspondence, and one of the things in the correspondence that I didn't get a chance to say was the annual Inspector of Policing report for 2025.
Yes.
And so if you cast your mind back in 2024, our police service board was recognized for doing outstanding jobs with lots of your support on a strategic plan. And this time in 2025, Halton Police Board was recognized for its critical points policy, and which has since been adopted by a similar version, since adopted by 34 of Ontario's 43 police service boards. And the reason why the critical points policy is really important is because it's a situation that evolves very rapidly, can become, extremely operational, financially heavy. It could have a lot of public considerations that we need to keep in mind, and so it really strengthens the response between the board's awareness and knowledge with the police services, adequate and effective policing. So this policy is a very important one, and I just wanted to say, I don't usually say good work to us, but good work on being recognized 2 years in a row in the inspectorate's report, so in a positive light. So I just wanted to highlight that, and I checked for this report probably since mid-June, so I was very happy when it finally came out.
Yeah, we're setting a good track record of having our efforts recognized by the IOP. So thank you for calling that out. That's an excellent point. And in that, I think we should also recognize the contribution of our past CGO in actually helping us draft that and bringing that, carrying that project forward with such deep passion. So congratulations to everybody involved, and Fred, if you're watching, congratulations on your.
No, he's watching.
I know you're watching, Fred. Okay, thanks for that, Lisa. Any further new business today? I don't see any. So, members of the board, I'm going to call for a motion to go into a session closed to the public. And the reason for that going into public is we're going to be dealing with personal matters about identifiable individuals, including members of the police service and employee of the board. Can I get that motion, please? Go to the camera.
Chief had something to say.
Well, I apologize.
No, just in summary in relation to the notice of motion.
Yeah.
Inspector Foley and Lama and Roger and others have worked quite a bit already on what we're going to do. It's August 27th. We don't meet again until September 24th. And in between now and then, school goes back. So we're certainly going to carry on with a lot of our education and external communications in the meantime, and we can update the board as that goes along, and you'll see the parts that are on social media and things we'll make sure that we send to you. But the work will continue between now and then. We may have a lot of that part done or in the works, so thank you.
We certainly want to acknowledge that, and the videos in particular that Lama and Jeff have been putting together are, not Jeff, I apologize. First of all, I was trying to merge you with the other deputies, but anyway.
Better looking than me, I'll take it.
We're very grateful for the videos and for the communications that are being put out into our community. They're excellent, and we don't want to diminish the work that's already been done by our desire to go further today. It is yeoman's work, and we appreciate it very much. The motion, I'm sorry, did I get a motion to go into camera? Nav and Rod, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, I do report to members of the public watching today that we are going into a session closed to the public. That means that our broadcast day is concluded. Thank you very much for tuning in to watch the business of your Halton Police Service and Police Board in action. We're always anxious for your contributions and your feedback. If you do wish to connect with us, you can do so through the following email, chair@haltonpoliceboard.ca. Also visit our website at haltonpoliceboard.ca for all information about our agendas, including this notice of motion, as well as you can visit haltonpolice.ca for information about the service itself. With that, thank you for watching, and this meeting is in recess until 10:45.